Okay, let's talk through all these golf events that you have coming up.
Gabby, I'm glad you asked. Got my calendar right here. July 17th at Red Run, and then July 31st, I have the American Golf outing for the Cancer Society.
I also have the American Cancer Society golf outing on the 31st, and also I got yours on the 18th, buddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Whoa, boys, these are a lot of events and golf outings.
Well, you want me to miss my own golf tournament?
Gabby, they're all great colors.
I mean, this is...
Hold on. I got this. Guys, I got this. Don't worry about it. Hold on a second.
He always...
Hey guys, thanks for coming so fast. How are ya?
Remember the guys from Randy Wise, right? Sir. The Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour.
Watch for the eye.
It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. Some of the biggest names in Michigan sports. And some, well, not so much. Brought to you in part by Premier Security Solutions, Fairway Packing Company, and Swiss Insurance. Watch episodes at woodwardsports.com.
Being first round pick exactly as he is. Oh my God! This is so great.
I reached down deep and I came up with nothing. I just want to watch him laugh.
He said he reached down deep.
I'm spinning right now.
Hey,
Drink some water, Maz. I'm fine. Your eyes are about to come out of your head.
How that pure body of man is feeling right now.
And here we go. Monday, June 26, 2023. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com, fox2detroit.com if you are watching live. Braylon out today. Tom Mazawey in his stead. Maz, I'll tell you, I have gotten more comments about Friday's show, more laughs about Friday's show than I think anything we've ever done. First and foremost, how you feeling today? And good afternoon to you, my friend.
Hello, brother. Hello, everybody out in Woodward land. Yes, I had a good time on Friday at the Dispo in Hazel Park. My first time trying an edible. What was it, a 10 milligram?
It was a 10 milligram. It was a 10 milligram.
Sour apple. It was delicious. And the first hour, I was like, okay, no biggie.
No biggie.
Then once that 3 o'clock hit, I started feeling a little different. And then you came to me at about 3:15 at that shot, and I was a little loopy. I tried to get up one time to like get a phone to see what JB's phone was and all that kind of stuff, and I almost fell on my ass, but it was good. The weekend, I got to be honest, I had a couple of migraines this past weekend. I don't know if that's considered a hangover or not, since it's the first time I've done anything like this, and I'm a migraine sufferer. So I don't know. Maybe I could partially blame the migraine on it. I don't know.
So here's what I blame the migraine for. And JB, good to see you on a Monday wearing the Dispo hat as well.
Of course.
How much fun did you have out there watching this guy?
That was so much fun. That was hilarious. I gotta admit, Maz, best time ever.
You and Parker, really, you guys made me laugh the most. Parker, all you see is like he's behind his computer screen, and you just see his head go. He was just laughing. They made me laugh more than anything. Then when you looked at me, and I had nothing to give you, that was it. When you laugh, I can't help but laugh.
So one of the things, as you know, driving the show, we call it, right? Like creating the conversation and
keeping it moving.
Keeping it moving from, you know, whether you go to Maz or go to Braylon or this or that or Parker or JB. One of the things about it is you can read body language, okay? You're able to read body language. Who wants to say something next?
Yeah.
You know, so my head's always on a swivel. Braylon Braylon will yell at me sometimes because he thinks I'm not paying attention to him. Not like looking at him in his eye like that.
Yeah.
Paying attention. I'm trying to figure out. if I'm not looking at, locked into Braylon, he'll say something. But I'm trying to figure out between the chat, between the guys, between what's next, between looking at the rundown, and between Maz and everybody else, who wants to say something next so we're not all stepping on each other. So in that clip you just saw, I was looking at Maz, and one thing Maz will always do to me when I look his way, he'll give me the little, like a little, I got next. So he gives me that.
I did?
You did. He gives me that. And so I'm just sitting there like, looking his way. He's like, so I'm waiting for him to say something, and he tries to get it out. But there is nothing that is coming out.
Nothing.
He tried. It was like, you ever see the movie, what's the Leonardo DiCaprio movie?
There's so many.
With, he's the Belfort, the...
Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street. When he's trying to talk and he's on the phone and he's trying to say, I got help, or I took Quaalude or whatever. He's like, like he couldn't get it out. It reminded me
That's
of
what
you.
I was saying. I reached down deep. I had something to say.
You absolutely had
and
something to say.
And I just came up empty. Came up with nothing. It was a George
so
Costanza
funny.
moment for sure. So the people were great there. We had a really great time. I hope we were entertaining enough for you guys. The worst part about this all is, as you guys know, I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. Never did. So my daughters, I preach that to them. I know they're not going to follow completely in my footsteps, but I tell them this is how I grew up and what the choices I made. And now all their friends are sending them the TikToks and the Snapchats and everything. Look at your dad. Look at your dad. Look at your dad. Now what am I going to tell them? What can I possibly say to them?
Well, it is just an edible, and I don't want to make light of it, for the small kids out there, but you are of age.
Oh, yeah.
And it is just an edible. And so it was, look, this place, and I don't think, well, I know it's not, I don't think. I've never been to a dispensary in my life.
Right.
I've never been to one
Me
in my
neither.
life.
Except Dispo.
That was the first time I've ever been to a dispensary. And let me tell you, that place was freaking amazing.
It is.
That place was freaking amazing. And just a constant stream of people.
Yep.
Constant. Now, I, too, walked out with a bag of 10 milligram edibles. And on Saturday...
I was thinking of you at the wedding.
Well, no, Friday was the wedding. I didn't do it Friday at the wedding. Friday was the wedding. That's why I didn't on Saturday.
Gotcha.
Saturday, I ate one at home. Like at night, we had some friends over.
By
barbecue.
yourself?
No, a couple of
you
other
shared?
people. Yeah,
Okay.
I shared. Couple of other people had. And we just, I didn't drink at all. I just ate an edible, and we laughed.
How long did it take?
About 30 minutes.
Okay. So you felt something in 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah. And then actually I went to bed. It was the best sleep I've had in months.
That's what I hear.
It was the best sleep I've had in months.
Okay.
I was just out cold.
Yeah, but I might try it at home at one evening.
Yeah, it was. If you are having trouble sleeping, man, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was,
I think we're back at Dispo and Romeo on Friday.
Are we really?
I think we are.
No kidding.
We are.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right. We're going to be way out. Now, you thought Hazel Park shop looked good. The last time we went to Romeo, we got rained out, so you didn't see inside this place. This place is gargantuan. It's gigantic.
Yeah, because when we went out to Royal Oak the first time, it was pouring.
Yeah, Romeo.
Romeo,
Yeah.
yes. It was pouring, and we just got back at 1:59.
Exactly.
And had no idea. We had nothing going on.
I know.
So it was great.
So we'll get another crack at it Friday. I'll see. No promises.
That was great. Parker, were you ever able to get that picture? Yeah. Or no? So Friday, I went to Dan Miller's daughter got married.
Yes.
Look at this picture from 18 years earlier.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
That's great.
Jennifer Hammond, Woody Woodruff, and Dan Miller. So Dan Miller's daughter, Sammy, got married. And just to be back with the Fox 2 sports team in that picture. Isn't that something?
That's awesome.
So that top picture was from the Super Bowl in 2006, and the bottom picture from
You were a sports guy
Friday
back
night.
then.
I was a sports guy back then. That was the team, and now they just cut me off, and it's just the three of them. It started with the three of them.
Yeah.
Then I came, and now it's the three of them again.
It's good.
Isn't that great?
I love it.
It's just how time flies. Like, one of the things about that pick, how time flies, man.
No doubt.
You know?
brother. You know it. Especially having kids. You see them, you see your whole life through your kids. And as they get older, and, I just had a picture today from 8 years ago when my girls were playing softball, and we had a tournament in Bay City. And the girls were there, and I just look at my daughter and her friends then, and I look at them now, and it's mind-boggling that it was only 8 years ago. And it seems like it's a lifetime ago.
Yeah, and you think of you also think of, like, these are your friends' kids now getting married.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, at what point, like, when did this
You were
happen
Uncle
to
Ryan
all
at
of
one
us?
time.
Yeah, at what point did this happen to all of us?
Yes.
Where these weddings happen, they're like your friend's kid. Oh, look at this. That was Jesse Adams. That's not nice. Look at the sideburns on Ryan. LOL. That was not a good picture.
That was a look back then, Jesse. I think.
I just don't think I didn't work at Lady Jane's at the time.
That's
so
right.
I didn't have access to haircuts every day
That's
of my
right.
life.
That's
so,
a fact.
It was really good. But a good weekend. Hopefully everybody out there had a great weekend. Not that great of a weekend for Tigers fans. They lose 2 of 3 and blow a couple of games to the Minnesota Twins. We'll talk to Lynn Henning, longtime Detroit News columnist. We'll talk to him about the Tigers' current situation moving forward this season. We'll talk to him about the upcoming draft. Colt Keith, the Tigers' #1 prospect, got raised up, elevated from AA to AAA. Is that just wasted at bats? And of course, today is an anniversary of sorts. A birthday for the captain.
Derek Jeter. That's why I'm wearing my Yankee jersey today.
Now, you say the captain around here, and you think Steve Yzerman.
Correct.
You say the captain anywhere else.
It's Derek Jeter. 49 years old. Talk about a life that is 49. I remember when he was a rookie, and now he's a 49-year-old man who had made his debut on Fox on Saturday from London. The Cubs and the Cardinals, they did a great show. We'll have a piece of video for you from that. Big Papi surprised him with a little birthday gift.
Great stuff, guys. But I want to talk a little Lions football when we come back. George Kittle commenting on the Lions' new tight end, draft pick Sam Laporta. We'll get that for you. The Lions trade is complete with the Los Angeles Rams. We'll show you how that one broke out in its entirety. And is it one of the greatest trades of all time for both teams? We'll ask that question. Something also happened in the USFL this weekend that the NFL needs to adopt immediately.
Absolutely.
We'll get to all of that next. But first, a message from Big Boy.
Yes, sir. It's Strawberry Fest at Big Boy. Get on down there before those strawberries run out. It's that time of the year. Start your breakfast off with some strawberry hot cakes or the mouth-watering red velvet waffle. And if you're not in the mood for breakfast, how about trying the rack, the snap rack, the snack wrap. That's right, the strawberry chicken snack wrap. And, of course, the summer splash salad. And those desserts are mouth-watering, to say the least. The mouth-watering cherry pie, the strawberry pie, the strawberry pie. And, of course, you can get a Big Boy there as well, only at your local Big Boy.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard.
Corner, jumper.
Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Laporta is going to be fantastic. I mean, I think Laporta is the best tight end in the draft class. I think Lions got his complete steal. I like the other tight ends too. But like, I spent 2 weeks training with Sam Laporta, and like the way he moves.
He's got the dog.
Oh yeah, he's got the dog. He's kind of quirky. He's kind of goofy too. Like he's going to fit in well.
Now, I'm not sure what we were expecting him to say. That was San Francisco 49ers all-pro tight end George Kittle, also from Iowa, talking about Iowa tight end, now Lions tight end Sam Laporta. But a lot of people from the early returns do believe, and we talked to Ari Mayrob about this, we've talked to Mike O'Hara about this. You know, when you lose Jamison Williams for the first 6 games of the year, and we talk about Tom Mazawey, how the wide receiver position is probably the most thin group unit on the Detroit Lions. They don't see it that way.
No.
Because they're adding Laporta in as kind of a guy that can fill that area, fill that need.
Yeah, that's not a blocking tight end. He is a receiving tight end that's going to move all over the field. And you heard Mike O'Hara a couple of weeks ago or last week saying the guys on the field, he moves like butter. He is as smooth as butter. So he gets around, catches the ball. He's just not going to sit there and block for you. He's not a Brock Wright. Brock Wright did beat the Jets on that touchdown. You're going to expect a lot more of that out of Sam Laporta. And he was the first tight end. Was he the first or the second tight end?
First tight end taken. Michael Mayer was next.
Yep, Michael Mayer came right on after him. So they're always going to be compared against each other. So we'll see how it rolls going forward. But that kind of makes me feel a little bit better that we're a little shy on the fast wide receivers when you have a tight end that can move as well as Sam Laporta is reportedly going to move. So I'm looking forward to it.
You know, I am looking forward to it as well. And how many times, look, we talked about the draft January, February, March, April for 4 months, nearly 120 days of draft talk. And what was the one position most every time we said we did not want the Lions to take?
Wide out.
No. Tight end.
Oh, yeah, tight end because of all of our past failures.
Right.
But wide receiver was another one. That was before Jamison Williams was suspended.
Right, before he was suspended. And I'm not sure anybody really fully expected them to take a wide receiver. But when Michael Mayer started being pegged to the Lions with that second first-round pick with pick number 18, I think a lot of us were like, no thank you.
Yeah.
The Lions had 3 tight ends last year that collectively
worked well.
Absolutely, more than worked well. So much production from the position, not one player, but so much production from the entire position group last year once they traded away
Hawkinson.
T.J. Hawkinson to Minnesota. They traded him away, and you're like, if you're going to trade away a player like that, it kind of means you, A, don't want to pay that position, but B, your offense doesn't require you to have that one elite receiving threat tight end. So why are you going to burn a first-round pick on that? And as we get going now, once they do pick the player and you hear how great he looks, how great he can be, all the accolades that is coming his way now, and in combination with Jamison Williams going out the first 6 games of the season, you can't imagine not taking this guy because he's going to help, and he's going to help in a big way.
They loved him, and they kind of moved around their draft picks, as you see. And we're going to go over the Matthew Stafford trade. You're going to see all the players, obviously, that they got in that trade. Okay, moving draft picks. They moved around. They moved the first round. They moved in the second round. They moved in the third round. So they got him right at the right spot. He's not a first-round pick, They got him right where he's supposed to be.
Can I read for you what CBS Sports has written about the top 5 rookie tight ends? And by the way, it does have Sam Laporta as the number 1 ranked tight end in this class. Number 2, by the way, Dalton Kincaid, who went to the Bills. And number 3, Michael Mayer, who went to the Raiders. And it was Mayer who was pegged as the first tight end taken prior to all of the actual draft. It was Mayer that went as the second tight end in this draft, I believe.
Well, the third, after Kincaid. Kincaid was a first-round pick to Buffalo. That's the one we missed.
Okay. So here's what it says about Sam Laporta. The Dan Campbell-led Lions love running the ball and playing old-school hard-nosed football, don't they? Well, not really. Jared Goff attempted the 6th most passes during the regular season in 2022. David Montgomery and especially Jahmyr Gibbs in the backfield lend credence to the idea that the Lions may be more reliant on the run game in 2023. Burgeoning star offensive coordinator Ben Johnson isn't suddenly going to morph into your grandpa's play caller. The ball will be in the air often with Goff this season, and Amon-Ra St. Brown will garner most of the targets. Former first-round pick Jameson Williams will get to speed up after his 6-game suspension. Beyond that, the Lions' depth continues. Marvin Jones on the reunion tour. Josh Reynolds is there as well. In other words, it's a great opportunity for Laporta in year 1 to show off his thick, dynamic athleticism and George Kittleian attributes after the catch.
That would be really great. Don't we forget Khalif Raymond is in that group too. He's caught some big catches last year as well. He'll be a big part of that offense as well.
Absolutely. I wanted to show this to you as well, revisiting the Stafford Goff trade. This from the 33rd team. And I found this to be as much of a win-win as you can possibly get in any trade.
I didn't realize how many players actually shook out of this thing.
Well, essentially the Detroit Lions sent Matthew Stafford to Los Angeles and got back Jared Goff, Ifeatu Melifonwu, Jameson Williams, Josh Paschal, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, and Broderick Martin, the 3rd-round pick this year. And they got all of those players not specifically from L.A., but from a pick that L.A.
Correct.
Like, for instance, the Lions got L.A.'s pick number 6 this year. They traded that for 2 picks this year. So they got so many players because they used some of the picks to trade up and get Jameson Williams, trade back and get Jahmyr Gibbs. There was a lot of movement. This might go down as the best trade in Detroit Lions history.
I got to agree with you. Even though Matthew Stafford went to L.A. and did what he was supposed to do, win a Super Bowl, that's what we were hoping for him to do here. We just didn't put the pieces together for him. He had a great coaching staff there, and he had some luck as well. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers almost shortchanged him on his way to that Super Bowl. At home, by the way, at SoFi Stadium. I mean, everything went perfectly for the Rams. But I'll point this out to you. As good as the Lions look now from that trade going forward, and they are now a player in the NFL, no question about it. They have great management. They have a great coaching staff. And I think they are ready to start percolating and becoming a real winner year in and year out. But if you asked me to do that trade again, if I was the Rams, I would do it in a second if I could win that Super Bowl. I mean, to win a Super Bowl is it, right, guys? To make a Super Bowl would be great. And the Lions are one of the few teams that have not made a Super Bowl yet.
There's no doubt about it, and certainly the best trade in the Super Bowl era. I think if you go ahead and look at the best trade of all time in Lions history, so many people would point to acquiring Bobby Lane
from the Steelers.
Bobby Lane from the New York Bulldogs / Yanks for wide receiver Bob Mann. That was obviously the last link to a championship that you have had in Detroit for the Lions. But nonetheless, in the Super Bowl era, this absolutely is the best trade the Lions have ever made. And again, I think if you're the Detroit Lions, you would do this trade all over again. And if you're the LA Rams, you would do this trade all over again because you won a Super Bowl.
Yep.
And you didn't win a Super Bowl 2 years after the trade. You won the Super Bowl when you expected to win that Super Bowl.
Yes.
The very first year of the Matthew Stafford
Everything went
trade.
right for them. Everything went right for them. I mean, literally, Tampa Bay almost knocked them off on their way back to home in LA to play that Super Bowl. But they got it done, and that's all that matters when it comes down to it.
And it's curious, too, because if you look at the LA Rams this year, I think they could be a team that a lot of people are sleeping on. And I'm not sure, I'm not going to say they're going to go ahead and win the NFC West or compete with Seattle and San Francisco. But I do think a lot of teams are sleeping on them. A lot of fans, a lot of NFL fans are sleeping on them because of the 5-12 year that they had last year in 2022. And there's going to be some turnover in terms of playoff teams. There are, every year, there's playoff teams one year, and you've got, I don't want to say a whole new crop of playoff teams, but you've got a number of new playoff teams each and every year. Could the Rams be one of those teams that surprise everybody and get back into this thing? Because Matthew Stafford is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC.
Yes.
If you go through the
as long as he stays healthy.
If you go through the quarterbacks in the NFC, tell me where you think Matthew Stafford is, and he's top 5, top 6 guy.
I agree, 100%.
Maybe even a top 3 or 4 guy.
Hey, when
it comes down to it.
Well, you're saying now it's the NFL's parity, so all these playoff teams are interchangeable. Back in my day, it was always, let's say, the Dallas Cowboys or the Redskins in the East. Mm-hmm. In the Central, it was the Vikings. And out West, it was the Rams. And on the other side, it was the Dolphins, it was the Steelers, and it was either the Raiders or the Broncos. Those teams were interchangeable every year in and year out. You'd have a wild card team, maybe sneak in. But nowadays, anything goes in any of these divisions. And we'll go over that. We got some good stats to back it up.
I want to do this now that we're talking about Matthew Stafford and the Rams. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to see which teams you believe were not in the playoffs last year that you believe will be in the playoffs this year. And I want you to tell me, so I've got a stat about divisions in the NFL, and it was pretty mind-blowing, I think, and we'll get that to you next. But first, a message from Fairway Packing Company. I was at Fairway Packing Company over the weekend. You know you ever have a ribeye steak, and you know the cap of the ribeye, the outer side?
Oh, yeah.
So that is what I eat first on a ribeye.
It's tasty.
At Fairway, they sell the entire cap.
Oh, man.
And I picked that up. Grilled it, sliced it up for everybody to try. It was like dessert. It was incredible. For over 60 years, Fairway Packing Company has been providing Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry-aged beef. You can experience the Fairway difference yourself. Visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods for grab-and-go steaks. You can visit them online as well. If you can't make it into the shop, they ship anywhere next day. Fairwaypacking.com. Fairwaypacking.com. Sourced, cut, aged, packed to perfection.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Woodward Sports on YouTube. hit that like button as well. Let's see if we can get to, where are we? Let me pull it up. Let's see if we can get to over 75 likes this segment. How about that? Let's get to over 75 likes by the end of this segment. That'd be real swell. Go to woodwardsports.com for all the latest news, articles, updates, show clips, and merch. This is one of my shirts that I wear weekly here, woodwardsports.com.
I got to show everyone my Father's Day gift from the girls.
I love that, by the way.
Look at this thing. It's my Lions Kool-Aid. Honolulu Blue, real favorite, good source of winning. Add playoffs, makes one Super Bowl win. Net weight, 11.5 wins. Playoff bound. I mean, I just love this. So
that's so cool, though, Maz.
Isn't that nice?
That. Yeah.
I dig it.
And that's like a water bottle.
Yeah, and it keeps it really ice cold, too. Ice cold. The ice stays in here for a couple of days at least.
Really?
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yes, sir.
How about that? Because we're talking about the Rams and the Lions trade with Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff. We put up the graphic for you, all the players that the Lions got. And I think it's a win-win trade. And even for the Rams, obviously they won the Super Bowl. And they're not done yet either. I think for anybody to count the Rams out of anything this year, I think Matthew Stafford is a better quarterback than Geno Smith. You know, everybody's talking about Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks this year, and so am I. I think they're a really good team. They've got a running game. They've got a defense. They've got a head coach.
They got a lot better wide receivers and a lot better running backs.
Absolutely. There's no question about that. But I think that the Rams are not going to be a 5-12 team this year.
No, I don't think they will
I think
either.
they're going to be a force. They're going to be in contention for the playoffs.
Okay, that's fair enough. Tough division.
Tough division. And each year there are new teams in the playoffs, and there are teams that made the playoffs that kind of fall flat on their head. So without the benefit of a graphic made for you, I'm just look at the NFC alone. Okay,
NFC first.
NFC alone.
Yep.
Last year's playoff teams: Philadelphia, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, San Francisco. Those were the division winners. Then you go Dallas, New York, and Seattle. Those were the wild cards.
Right.
If I had to tell you right now, give me two teams that are not going to make that playoff.
Out of that bunch.
What would you say? First thing that comes to mind
Tampa
to me is
Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay is not going to win that division
But
this
someone
year.
else will.
New Orleans. So I would swap out Tampa Bay for New Orleans.
I'm with you there.
And then at least one of the wild card teams are not going to make. By the way, I'll give you another one. Detroit's going to win the division and not Minnesota. So that's another one.
But will Minnesota compete for a wild card?
So Dallas, New York, and Seattle were the wild card teams. Which one or two teams there, Dallas, New York, and Seattle, are not making the playoffs this year? Because all three of those teams will not make the playoffs.
I would have to say the Giants. Out of that group, I still think Seattle is only getting better. They were supposed to be in a rebuild, but they're getting better. And the Cowboys are going to be right there with the big boys. So I'd have to eliminate my hometown Giants.
Okay, so if the Giants are not in, you are going to have a playoff team from Washington, Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago.
Nah.
The Rams, the Cardinals.
No.
Falcons, Panthers, or Bucks.
I think maybe the Panthers can step up a little bit.
You think the Panthers over the Rams and the Vikings?
I do. No. I'll stick with the Vikings.
Okay.
Although, like we've said, and we've went over this, they've lost 7 starters from that team. But I just don't think a 13-win team is going to win less than 9 games the following year. I just don't see it.
Okay. So that's fair. So if we go one team, we go Giants out.
And Vikings in.
Vikings in. So I would go Vikings out, Rams in.
Really?
Yes.
So you think 3 teams from the West are going to get in?
Interesting you say that. Because for the last 3 years, this has not happened for 3 years in a row. Consecutive years in a row. Since the NFL went to 8 divisions, This is the first time that there have been 3 teams in one division that made the playoffs for 3 straight years. It's happened before. It's happened about 6 or 7 times over the years, but never happened 3 years in a row.
Yep.
So in 2020, and I left my list in the back. In 2020, the AFC North. In 2020, it was the AFC North.
If you look at page 2 at the bottom.
Did you write it down for me? Oh, thank you so much. So in 2020, it was the AFC North that made the playoffs. 3 AFC North teams made the playoffs: Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. In 2021, 3 teams in the NFC West made the playoffs. It was San Francisco, Arizona, and the Rams. And then in 2022, the NFC East, 3 teams made the playoffs: Philadelphia, Dallas, and New York. So if history is any indicator, Tom Mazawey, there will be a division in 2023 that has 3 teams make the playoffs once again. And I am going to go with the NFC West as that division in 2023 that has 3 teams make the playoffs: San Francisco, Seattle, and the Rams. I just don't see a division in football right now anyway.
I do. There's going to be at least 2 divisions. If you like the West and the NFC, the AFC East. The Jets, the Dolphins, and the Buffalo Bills. They got those 3 teams have to make the playoffs. Those are 3 of the best teams in football. Yes, I said the Jets. I'm putting Aaron Rodgers in the charge. If Aaron Rodgers got anything left in the tank, and I think he does, he gets that team to the playoffs. So the AFC East, to me, is the best division in football. Hands down. The Patriots are even not that bad. They could win 9 games.
Okay, so if the Jets are in, that means the Chargers or Ravens are out.
Wow. If I had to pick between those 2 teams, I would have to pick the Chargers as being out.
Okay, so that means
you don't like the coach anyway, Brandon Staley.
I don't like the coach. I think he's going to get fired.
They are a pretty damn good team.
So what we did with the NFC, we'll do with the AFC.
Okay.
If you're telling me that. So last year, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Jacksonville, Kansas City won the divisions. The wild cards: Miami, Baltimore, and the Chargers. So if you're telling me that there's only one of those teams that is not going to make the playoffs, it'd be the Chargers.
Correct.
And you would swap in the Jets for
Absolutely.
that. So one of these teams will not make that would mean all of these teams will not make the playoffs then, under your scenario. Ready? Patriots out. Pittsburgh out. Cleveland out. Tennessee, Indianapolis, Houston out. The Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos out.
I like it.
You're fine with that.
I like it a lot.
Okay.
I love the AFC pick.
What kind of odds do you think you can get on that if you go Buffalo, Miami, New York Jets, Cincy, Baltimore, Jacksonville, and Kansas City? If you just called all playoff teams right now,
yeah,
what do you think you can get on that?
I don't know. I don't know. The guy that picked the 3 champions last year for Circa, what did he get? How much did he win at Circa?
$1 million. Oh, no, he won
Circa,
70 grand.
70 grand. So what's that odds? He had $100. That's plus 700. So if he got plus 700 to pick 3 champions, just to pick 7 playoff teams in one league, what would you get on that? I think you might get plus 1,000.
You might get it.
Yeah.
You might get it. So
especially in the AFC.
We should do this tomorrow where I'm going to give you my playoff teams in the AFC and NFC. You do the same.
Okay.
It might be a little bit easier to see if we have a graphic.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you my playoff teams right now in the NFC. You ready?
NFC. Let me go to my NFC.
My 4 division winners: Detroit, Dallas, New Orleans, San Francisco. My wild card teams: Seattle, Philadelphia, and the Rams. In the NFC, in the AFC, boy, it's so hard to go again. This is just chalk. I mean, it's chalk. Buffalo, Cincinnati, Jacksonville, Kansas City.
Yes.
And then Miami, the Jets, and Baltimore. It's chalk.
But you
It's
kind of
never chalk.
You kind of like the Browns as an outsider.
I like the Browns and the Broncos to contend.
And we threw the Chargers out, or I did.
And I would even go, I think the team that is in really serious trouble is the Miami Dolphins. And I say that because of the health of the quarterback. I am so unsure if that quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, will be able to withstand an entire season
But
of football.
they batten down the hatches. They got Mike White from the Jets.
He sucks.
No, he doesn't.
What do you got, JB?
I was just going to ask Ryan, if you did want to put $10 down on all those division winners right now, you could easily win $3,000.
Really?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
So that's plus three.
Wow.
Is that plus 300? No, it's more than that.
It's 300 to 1.
300 to 1 for $10.
Yep.
Yes, so it is plus 3,500.
There you go. Plus 3,500.
Plus 3,500.
So 35 to 1.
So 350
to pick
1.
7 winners.
7 winners.
Oh, wow. That's actually not that great.
You know why? Because it's chalk. You
chalk.
said it yourself.
Yeah.
If you can get the 4 division winners, which is pretty simple, quote unquote simple, all you got to do is pick 3 wild card teams out of the rest of them.
Right. That's pretty hard to do. The NFL is that's why the NFL is the greatest sport, the greatest league.
It's the greatest show
in sports. Because we sit here and we think we have all the answers. If I told you last year, and I did, by the way, that Green Bay was a 7-win football team,
I would have laughed at
you
you,
would have laughed
and I
at
did.
me, and you did. And it turned out they were...
You were right there.
I was
8
right
wins.
there. 8 wins. If I would have told you last year that the Rams were done, you would have laughed at me. But after a Super Bowl, a 5-12 season, you would have laughed. That's why this league is so great. If I would have
lost opening week, remember? Against the Bills.
I do remember. If I would have told you last year that the Philadelphia Eagles, behind Jalen Hurts, 12 months ago, think about this. Just 12 months ago, we were sitting here, every sports station in the country, every ESPN, FS1 show was talking about how bad Jalen Hurts was as a quarterback and how he is not the long-term guy. Jalen Hurts is not a long-term guy. Who's going to be the starting quarterback of the future for the Philadelphia Eagles? All he did was go 14-3, lead his team to a Super Bowl, and got a $50 million contract after that. That was 12 months ago.
And would have been an MVP had he not missed some games with injury.
So what I'm trying to tell you is each year it's a new season. We think we know. I mean, I'm not sold at the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, I am sold on it, but are they up for a little bit of a letdown here? I mean, potentially, possibly. Is there any chance of a letdown?
Of course there is. They're a Super Bowl champion. That happens to Super Bowl champs.
And I'm not talking about if Mahomes gets hurt. I'm just talking about any chance. I mean, 14-2, 12-5.
Who's backing Mahomes up these days?
I don't know who their quarterback is.
JB will look it up.
But they've won this friggin' division since, geez, when's the last time they didn't win the division? I'm on 27. Was it 2015?
They own the West.
Wow. They is it 2015? You got it, Parker? 2015 is the last time the Kansas City Chiefs did not win the division.
Jeez.
And they made the playoffs that year. They were 11-5. That is an incredible run.
No doubt about it.
What do you got, Parker?
I think this season for the Chiefs, since we're on that topic, I think the start of the season against the Lions, if they go out and lose pretty badly, I think that's going to be a pretty big bumper sticker on how well that season's going to go.
No doubt. I do. It's like you ever see the movie Major League? They say you can tell a lot about a season by the first batter of the season. And Willie Mays Hayes gets a hit, then he gets picked off.
Yes.
What a great scene in that movie.
What a great movie.
What a great scene.
There's no bad scenes in that movie.
Guys, we got Lynn Henning coming up top of the hour. But next, something happened in the USFL game over the weekend that the NFL should absolutely adopt this year. And I'm not sure why it's not adopted already. But first, a message from Dispo.
Yes, Dispo. Join us and the Dispo family live at their Romeo location on June 30th, that's this Friday, for all 4 shows from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Brace yourself for an unforgettable journey at the pinnacle of cannabis excellence. Located at 100 Schaefer Drive in Romeo, Michigan, we will see you there this Friday, June 30th, for our all-day live event at Dispo Dispensary, your local cannabis plug.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network. How would you like to win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Tom Mazawey, you've got some breaking news over there, don't you?
I do. JB, thanks for alerting us to this. There will be a Hard Knocks team, and it will not be the Detroit Lions. It will be the New York Jets.
Has to be.
They cannot turn it down. They did not want to do it. They spoke about it and said, we really don't want to do it. And guess what? The NFL is saying, too bad for you.
And that's
Mike
what
Florio,
the contract
Pro
is.
Football
Right?
Talk.
Right? That's what the contract is. I mean, I think, and to HBO's credit, and seriously, to HBO's credit, they went around, they asked the Lions to do it again.
Yeah.
They really tried to honor the New York Jets and all of these other teams, New Orleans and Chicago.
Yep.
I think there was one more in there. They're just, those other stories were not interesting. Nobody cares about the Chicago Bears. Nobody cares about the New Orleans Saints unless you somehow can bring John Gruden in maybe to spice it up a little bit.
Right.
Potentially.
Right.
But that's just not going to happen. And there are different variations, different levels of, you can't have a first-year coach. You can't make the playoffs the year before, this, that, and the other thing.
Right. It was perfect for the Jets. The Jets are going to be
different benchmarks.
They're going to be. It probably will be the highest-rated Hard Knocks in the history of that show. Obviously, the New York audience is going to help it, but who don't want to watch that? Every football fan, I think, wants to see what Aaron Rodgers and Robert Saleh and these Jets are going to be doing. Maybe you'll get to see Zach Wilson's mom. Who the hell knows? Maybe you'll get to see her friends. Even better. We'll see how that shakes out. I can't wait.
Really intriguing, though, that this late in the season, you kind of make this determination, and just for the production value of it, to get in there and get all your cameras in and set up inside the facility, I'm sure, what are you, a month away from training camp?
Yeah.
To be this late in the game. And
I think they'll be fine.
Yeah,
They'll be
HBO
fine.
will be fine. I think maybe the New York Jets, not so
They
much.
kind of probably knew. I got a hunch that they kind of knew. That's why I think Robert Saleh, remember, he gave them the mini camp off.
Mm-hmm.
He said, forget mini camp. We'll see you for camp. We got to get started early, and they'll go from there. Now, I think they kind of knew that they were going to get this gig.
Men, knock on wood if you're with me. Peaceful Tim. Peaceful Tim's a knock on wood if you're with me. John Gruden, that was his famous.
That's right.
Not famous, but that's what he says to his team in the meeting room.
Good call.
Pretty good
Good
stuff.
call back.
Braylon Edwards out today. He'll be back tomorrow. Tom Mazawey up on the desk. JB and Parker are with us. Guys, I want to talk to you about this. The USFL.
I agree.
Yes. And I texted you this right away.
I agree.
So I was watching the Michigan Panthers USFL playoff game the other night. And what happened was, late in the game, about 2 minutes to go in the game, Michigan was down 3 points. They score a touchdown late in the fourth. But on the touchdown, there was a penalty It was a face mask penalty, so the touchdown gets taken away. But in the USFL, you can review that penalty. It was clearly not a face mask penalty. Guy had his jersey up over here, and it looked like it gave the illusion that it was the face mask. It was not. So because Michigan was able to review that play, the call was reversed, the touchdown stood, and all of it lasted less than 30 seconds.
Jeez.
The NFL needs to adopt this policy immediately.
And they won't.
You cannot, if this would, imagine this happened in an NFL playoff game and somebody lost the game because of it. And even in the regular season, the roughing the punter penalty in the Seattle Rams game, to me, was an abhorrent call that cost the Lions a playoff
Some would
berth.
say it was a fixed call.
If you want to end these calls of your league being fixed, you must adopt this now, because they got the call right. It took less than 30 seconds. Everybody moves on. And by the way, Michigan ended up losing the game on like a 59-yard field goal.
They got
at the
some kickers
buzzer.
in that league.
Yeah, they do have some kickers in that league. But I saw this and I texted you right away, Maz.
Here, you know me. I want to review everything, okay? You're already making the game long as it is. Look, there's ways to make this game shorter. First of all, you don't need a guy to go under the hood. You go right up to the box. They have the proper video cameras, the proper video screens, to make the call. That's all bull, because they just want to sell an advertising for that. We all know that. Everything must be reviewable. And I'll take you back to the Hail Mary game, because we just said this is a face mask call that got overturned, right? Remember a Hail Mary? Green Bay against Detroit on Thursday. Was it Thursday night? No, it was a Sunday night game. What game was that?
It was a
Aaron
Thursday
Rodgers.
night game.
Thursday night game. Yeah, Joe Buck doing that game. I remember it. And Aaron Rodgers runs out of the pocket. You know, he has that one little chin strap that everyone hates. And obviously his face mask got pushed up. And I forgot what Lion defender it was that was rushing the passer at that time. Got called for face mask. Got another shot. Threw the ball. Rodgers catches it. They win. I know it wasn't a playoff game, but the Lions were on their way, possibly, to the playoffs that year, and that one just broke their back, and it became very Lion-esque that they lost that game. There's no way that was a face mask. They said it. They said they blew the call. Too late for the Lions, and that's happened a lot of times. And I know we're concentrating on just saying it's happened to the Lions, but it just seems to happen to them way too much. I disagree. I agree with you 100%, Ryan. You've got to be able to challenge that kind of call.
So, and you may not like the USFL. It might not be your cup of tea, but one of the things we've seen in these leagues over the years is the access that you get to the players. I mean, when it's late in the game and you hear Mike Riley, the head coach of Michigan, on the call, making the call, I mean, that's great stuff. Now, I don't know if that will ever permeate and get into the NFL.
It will.
But there are things you can do to make the viewing experience better. And by the way, this is another thing too. When you have all of that access, you don't need to go to the game. You think about it, you don't get that kind of stuff at the stadium that you would get at home if you're hearing players on the field, if you're listening to coaches in the box. Now, there are advantages that you get at the game that you don't get at home and vice versa, but you know, in the original iteration of the XFL, there were television innovations and league rules that came from that are still, you know, in the game today.
Yep. Hey, the 2-point conversion was from the USFL.
Yeah.
And they took that from the old AFL back in the 60s. So the NFL has done some good, but just not quick enough.
Mic'd players.
Yes. And radioed players in their helmet.
That's
that
right.
That was prior to this league.
The green dot that you now see on NFL players' helmets is because of the XFL. And I think there are things that the USFL does currently that will move over to the NFL.
Agreed.
And I think the replay, much like the 2-point system, the 2-point try was adopted from the XFL to the NFL. I think this replay system that the USFL has should be adopted in the NFL.
Totally agree, man. Totally agree.
You just can't have people talking about your games being fixed.
No. And it's happened way too many times.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that Washington Giants game on that Sunday Night Football. That was not any interference. The receiver was on the line for Washington, and they called him that he was over the ball. And he even asked the ref, you remember? Hey, am I okay? And the ref went, yep. And then as soon as the ball was snapped, he threw the flag. I mean, that was to me, the worst call of the year, that particular play. That could be corrected.
Yeah.
That could be corrected.
Everybody, now I mentioned the USFL, and it is funny that the first thing that you know when you mention the USFL, excuse me, I say XFL first time around, what's the first thing you think of?
I think of The Rock.
Oh, not this XFL. From Vince McMahon's XFL. You think of The Rock?
Yeah, but didn't he? Yeah, no.
Really? He what?
He appeared once. He was like
I
one
think
of their
he
biggest
hates me.
spokesperson.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah,
he
sorry,
hated me
man.
a little bit.
I'm not answering your questions good today.
No, you're not.
I'm not.
You're not listening to him. You're just reacting to him.
React.
You're not paying attention. You're still high from Dispo.
Took another edible.
So you taking an edible today, Maz?
No. I'm good.
You sound like you need one.
No, I'm good.
No, okay, very good.
He's gonna need one on
But
Friday.
yeah, one of the things I was talking about was whenever you mention the XFL, everybody mentions "He Hate Me." I mean, that was just the greatest name in the history of
Yeah, but the NFL doesn't do
professional
that.
sports.
They don't allow that still.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm just saying. Like you say XFL, you can't mention the XFL without "He Hate Me."
That's a fact.
Mike G says, "Maz hate me."
Mike, I just reached down deep and I came up with nothing again. My bad.
Oh, God. Maz still feeling that gummy, Spencer says. Peaceful Tim says, Maz is acting a bit off, kind of on a delay.
As you guys know, I really don't like sitting up here. I like sitting in my chair, but I am here. So I am a little off. I'm always a little off
Dave
when
says,
I'm up here.
You confused, Maz.
Yeah. I don't really like to pay attention to much.
I think that's your biggest thing.
Yeah.
When you're back there, you
Yeah.
don't have to pay attention.
Correct.
You can just kind of do your thing.
You're
in the chat. You're in the chat more. You're in
I
the
am.
chat. You're
I
doing
prefer
this,
to be on the chat than to be up here.
I understand. You're in the chat, then you hear something, and you're like, "Oh, I want to speak on that."
Yeah.
This way, up here, you have to fully.
I got no choice.
You have to fully engage.
I know. I apologize.
No,
I will fully engage
you're
from now
totally
on.
fine. You have to
I'm going to try my best at least.
fully engage.
Okay.
Okay, guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, expected to be joined by Lynn Henning, longtime Detroit News columnist and author.
He knows his Tigers, man.
He knows
Better than
those
anybody.
Tigers. Absolutely. We'll talk about those Tigers and more. But first, a message from Planet Fitness.
Yes, Planet Fitness. Now, we all know Planet Fitness as your judgment-free zone where you can work out for just $10 a month. But as of right now, Planet Fitness is thrilled to have high schoolers ages 14 through 19 in the U.S. and Canada to work out for free all summer long with their Planet Fitness High School Summer Pass. Teens can register as of right now and officially gain access to the club all the way up until August 31st. But that's not all, because Planet Fitness is also giving away over $200,000 to high schools and students. Teens who sign up for the high school summer pass will have an opportunity to win scholarships for their school and also participate in a TikTok video contest for a chance to win academic scholarships as well. Visit the landing page for more information and legal disclosure at pfsummerpasscontest.com. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Hour number 2 of the program. Ryan Ermanni, Tom Mazawey, Braylon out today. Be back tomorrow. JB and Parker are with us as well.
Hey, happy 49th birthday to my guy, the captain, Derek Jeter. Just look at those numbers, man. How can anyone have anything bad to say about this guy? All the years he played in New York, all the years that he stayed clean. Not one bad thing against him. The New York Post, the New York Daily News, Newsday, none of them could get him. They all tried to get him, and he came up and he said, sorry, man. I'm clean as they come. I want to show you over the weekend. He made his debut with Fox on the National Game of the Week. They were in London for the Cardinals and the Cubs. By the way, they did a great job on that London field. The stadium was packed. It was loud. They did a great job. And at the end, Jeter's on there with the panel. You got Kevin Burkhardt. You got Big Papi, Alex Rodriguez, and now Derek Jeter. And they wanted to give him a little birthday present. This is how it went.
But you know what? I got a gift for you.
Oh, okay. You went shopping?
From all of us, you know. Open it up, Cap. Come on.
Oh, so nice, so touching.
Nice, great teammate.
Oh, oh,
turn it around, man.
Turn it around. Oh!
Come on, man.
Derek Jeter Red Sox jersey. It's been a great time spending with you guys here. You won't see me anymore. Well, it's my last day at Fox. It's been a good 24 hours.
So Derek Jeter was gifted a personalized Boston Red Sox jersey, and he did what any Yankee or red-blooded American would do, was take that jersey and chuck it off the set.
That's so good, Tom
All
Mazawey. And I know that's why you're wearing your Yankees jersey today. Hey, let's talk some baseball. Let's bring him in. Longtime Detroit News columnist, author as well, on Twitter at Lynn_Henning. The great Lynn Henning is with us. How you doing, Lynn?
Mr. H.
Hello, Ryan, Maz. I hope you guys are doing well here as we plunge into summer and as I try to steady this device here, buddy. I don't know if this is working. I usually do this off my... okay, good.
You're fine, Mr. H.
You look good, Lynn. Hey, let me
Mr.
ask
H,
you...
I'll tell you, if you want to turn the phone sideways, we can get the full view.
Yeah, now that upside down works, doesn't it?
Just leave it the way it is. You're good.
You're good. You're good the way we got you. Hey, Lynn, let me ask you. We're just playing. Derek Jeter, 49 years old today. Had some fun on the broadcast. Do you have any interactions? Have you had any interactions with Derek Jeter that you remember or anything like that? Any Derek Jeter stories?
Not a lot of stories, except just good experiences with him. He was always a gentleman. He just always seemed to always be receptive to conversation, always civil. I never saw him have a bad mood or pout or anything like that. I wasn't around as much as the New York guys who probably were privy to moments like that. But anytime I worked with him, he was fabulous.
I wanted to ask you about, before we got to the Tigers, the last thing on the Yankees, do they have a chance at all without Aaron Judge?
No. To be honest,
I don't think so either.
No, but geez, man, you East Coast guys, even when you're in Detroit, you want to talk Yankees.
I just brought it up because it was the captain's birthday, but we're here for Tiger Talk for sure, and we were a little disappointed over the weekend. They had a chance to really gain some ground on Minnesota, and they kind of gave a couple of these games away. Yesterday, especially, was damaging. Nick Maton did not have his best day. I feel terrible for the guy. And he was sent down to Toledo after that. What's your take on the way they're playing right now and how they could stay in this race, 5.5 back right now?
Oh, they could have stayed in it mathematically if they'd had Riley Green. And mathematically might do it this year, but I don't think so, guys. I think they had to get realistic all the way and say we're not a playoff team, therefore we're sellers at the deadline because they have to think in terms of the long route here. They really have to play for a team that's going to be competitive over the long haul and not a team that's going to, by quirk of fate, slide into the playoff picture, which is really what they've done, again, technically speaking, but they're not close to a playoff team. Even with Riley Green, what they are is a team that's beginning to coalesce some pieces, and all the more reason why they should have been open to dealing and still must be open to dealing here at the halfway mark. Really, Maz and Ryan, that's the only way they can really look at this. The only way that a new guy like Scott Harris can really do the job he was really hired to do is by playing, as I said, a long-term game here where they can be competitive over sustained years. That's going to require more personnel than they presently have.
You talk about those pieces, Lynn. Obviously, Riley Green, looks like one of those pieces. We were talking to Jim Leland last week. He believes Spencer Torkelson is going to be a star in this league. Who else? Who else can you look at on this current roster and say, yeah, when the Tigers, I'm not talking about arms, any position players. Who else can you point to and say, yeah, that guy will be on the team contributing in a big way when this team competes for a division championship, heaven forbid a World Series?
It's tough for this team. Parker Meadows and Colt Keith are two guys that are going to be in the mix. Definitely. Colt Keith got promoted today from Erie to Toledo. He is going to be at the doorstep. Same with Parker Meadows, who really is now. So you've got him, you've got Green, you've got Torkelson, who will in fact hit, but they need more pieces, guys, and that's why I've said all along they were going to have to be sellers at this particular point of the season. They've got some people down below yet who are also emerging. I mean, I think Isaac Pacheco in another year is going to be there. Jace Young at West Michigan is going to be a first-round bat, but he's not ready yet. And so that's why I said, fellas, for them to try and play playoff baseball, this idea that we're in it this year is foolhardy.
Right.
Because it's just simply not taking a detached perspective and understanding how many pieces they're yet lacking in making a primetime contender. When they get those pieces, and they're getting close to that, they're going to have a pretty good team next year. Yeah, they really are. They'll have a trade or two, and there's going to be some free agent ads, and they're going to come out of this thing next season with a pretty good team. But they're not there yet. And that's why I think, again, if you trade Alex Lang, if you trade Eduardo Rodriguez, if he gets back, you're not going to get great freight for those guys. But any deals that you can make right now, Scott Harris needs to make, because this 2024 team is going to come out of spring training with at least a chance to be more legit and more valid as a contender than seen this group.
Hey, Lynn, you mentioned Colt Keith. He did get moved up. Do you feel that was the appropriate move? Does that feel like wasted at-bats at AAA? Why not just bring him up to the big leagues and see what he's got?
For two reasons, Ryan. He still has stuff to learn as a hitter. The kid's only 21. And he's got some work to do, particularly with finesse. That's going to be, of course, a steady diet of what he'll see up at the big leagues, and he needs to see that at AAA. AAA pitching really is sort of a final dress rehearsal, because you're going to see more veteran pitchers, and you're going to see more of the kind of stuff that you're going to be vulnerable to at the big league level. Most of those guys have pitched in the big league. So it's really an important final stage. The other reason for Colt Keith to stay at Toledo, guys, is because we're getting ahead of ourselves. The other reason for Colt Keith not to come to Detroit yet, Ryan, is that he doesn't have a position. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing they're working on him with now, most primarily, is to try to get him to a point where he can be sharp enough in the infield, preferably at third base or second base. He's got a long way to go to prove he can play there. If he can, then they've got a weapon, an infield weapon that they desperately need. If not, then he's got to move to a crowded outfield, and that's where things get a little more problematic. But I think right now, that's why there's no point in bringing a kid that young up to the big leagues, because he just isn't ready yet, even though he's having a terrific Double-A.
Lynn Henning joins us, former Detroit News columnist, author, Tigers expert, if you ask me. He's the guy I go to for my Tigers stuff. I wanted to ask you about Al Avila from a couple of weeks ago, speaking on that podcast and kind of grading himself and saying, look, I might have made some mistakes. Obviously, Paredes was a huge mistake, as we can see now. A couple of others. What's your grade on him now that he's finished and he has spoken finally?
C- at best. I thought it was an impossible job when he came in. I thought whoever took that position in August of 2015 was going to get creamed, and he did. It was really a bad deal because of the age and the enormous payroll that was going to have to be gotten out of the picture, and the fact they really had no farm. Well, that combination, I don't care what GM they would have hired, was on death's row. And Avila proved after 6 years, that he really wasn't up to that job. I thought a couple of years ago, like most people, that the long timeline was probably going to pay off and he was going to succeed. And then really it all came apart last year for reasons that part of which he really couldn't be blamed for, specifically injuries. And that's when you get into Maz and Ryan, you get into the Austin Meadows thing. I mean, this guy should have been a fine left-handed bat for the Detroit Tigers. Yep. The Tampa Bay Rays did not realize he had emotional problems when they traded him to the Detroit Tigers. There's no question about this. It wasn't a setup. And the Tigers, remember all the second guessing that night about Paredes, there was really zilch. Even though I had known when they got him in the trade and had been waiting for this guy to hit, frankly, the way he's hit since he's gone to Tampa Bay, they were dispensing here with a kid who could be a weapon. Well, he's become that. But in the absence of Austin Meadows and his anxiety problems, this is obviously a disastrous deal. But you can't blame Al Avila. What you can look to, guys, is that had it not been for a foul ball in a grapefruit leg game at the end of spring camp, that deal never would have been made because Green's foot wouldn't have fractured and they wouldn't have needed to make that. I mean, this is how bad luck can befall a bad franchise. And conversely, when things are going well, those are the kind of deals that work for you. I think Scott Harris will probably have his share of the latter.
No question about that. How about your take on Javi Baez, his ups, his downs, mostly his downs? Can they win with this guy going forward? Is there any way to move him? What's your take on him as a Tiger?
It's a terrible ball and chain that the Tigers took on there, and that is going to be on Al Avila. It's also going to be on A.J. Hinch because Hinch signed off on that.
Yeah.
And they should have known what they were getting. But they got some money to spend, and they really were tickled to death to go shopping.
Sure.
And meant they got a little bit indiscriminate, and they should have understood that this could have blown up on them, and of course it has. There's no way to trade him. You're not going to be able to expect that he'll opt out of this contract. They owe him $100 million after this year. What the best scenario is for them, and probably the only practical scenario for them, and it's not a very happy one, is they'll hang on to him for 2 more seasons through 2025, then cut bait and eat the last 2 years of the contract. I think that's probably the script right now that you can count on. But that's 2 more years after this season that you're going to have to deal with the same stuff here. And that's not going to be pleasant. It's going to keep them from being the fullest possible contender they could be during that time.
What happened to him? What happened to him?
I think, Maz, it's just what he had exhibited. Tremendous ability and then tremendous capacity to have an undisciplined and extremely low-level performance gear. And that's what you see. That's why you see the extremes. When he's good, he's really good. But most of the time, he's bad.
Yeah.
And most of the time, what you're going to live with him. But they were counting on a great season from yesteryear sort of being the rule that was going to apply, and they weren't looking at his later performances, which they probably should have been focusing on. Then that deal wouldn't have been made. But they're living with a terrible, terrible burden there. And that's why I say all these people that want them to go out and spend money. Money's the ticket to compete. No, it's not. It can blow up on you so easily, and then it can really retard your progress as a contender. You have to be more discerning than they were with Javi Baez. And even though everybody was pretty tickled about that at the point it was made, that's the kind of stuff that blows up on you, and it's why free agency is not an answer. It's the talent you're coalescing from your own system that has to be the framework and nucleus for your contender.
And Lynn, I'm going right there right now with the money, because my next question to you was going to be about Scott Harris and which kind of GM do you want to be? If you look at the New York Mets right now,
mess, you mean?
The New York mess, I should say. The highest payroll in professional sports at $344 million. They are 15 games behind first place. 15 games back with a payroll like that. Meanwhile, the Tampa Bay Rays, who have a payroll of $76 million, which is 28th out of 30 teams in Major League Baseball, are a Major League best 54-27. That is so mind-blowing to me, and I guess I try to bring that a little closer to home. Which kind of GM do you believe? We haven't even seen Scott Harris do a draft yet, really. Last year he did, I think. But the MLB draft is coming up next year. We all think they're going to be good. We hope the Tigers are going to be good. Which kind of GM do you think he wants to be? One that spends frivolously, or one that goes out there and kind of builds? Yeah.
Guys, let's look at the last Detroit Tigers World Championship team in 1984. How did they do that?
Draft.
It was Trammell. It was Whitaker. It was Parrish. It was Gibson. It was Petrie. It was Morris. It was the draft, right? Now, Darrell Evans also helped, but as a supplementary acquisition. That's how you use free agency. You don't build your core, your nucleus, your framework around free agents. You use them as appendages to a team that's already ready to win. And so Scott Harris knows this. He also knows the reason that the Tigers haven't won since 1984 is because they haven't drafted, and because their Latin American international drafting has likewise been a mess. And that's the reason the Tigers have been where they've been for 10 years. It's not about payroll. It's not about Al Avila's inability to make great steal trades. That stuff wasn't going to happen. But what was going to happen, and what needed to happen, and what hasn't happened for 4 decades is drafting. That's why the first move he made as GM in October was to fire his domestic scouting director and replace him with 2 guys. 2 very sharp guys, Rob Metzler and Mark Connor, from Tampa Bay with Metzler, and from previously with the Padres, Mark Connor. He also put Metzler over the scouting in Latin America. And so he gets it. He hadn't even had his second cup of coffee when he made the move on scouting. And that's exactly what needed to happen. I'd been saying it for years. I've always thought the fan base has gotten it upside down. It's not dollar signs, it's drafting. And they have been abysmal at it on balance over these 4 decades. And that explains why you haven't had a World Championship or World Series parade in Detroit since 1984 with the Tigers.
Jesus. Lynn, Tigers picked 3rd this time around. I don't know how. Do you follow the draft? I don't know anything about these guys. I mean,
I'm glad you're reading the news, Ryan.
Yeah,
come on now.
Wyatt about it every week since February.
Wyatt Langford pegged to go to them, a left fielder from Florida.
Yeah, I've been writing about. I do a regular. Ryan, I'm going to get you a Detroit News subscription.
We have them.
I have a subscription. I just missed the paper.
I couldn't stop him before he got those words out of his mouth.
Oh, jeez, man. I'm glad all this hard work I've been doing every Monday for 4 months has really been so visible.
Come on, Baz.
And anyway, to get serious, I'm kidding you.
No
to get
pictures,
there,
please.
Yeah, there are three guys here. There's three guys in the big trinity, and that is Wyatt Langford. And yeah, I'm not sure that he's not going to go number one. There's Paul Skeens, the big 6'6" right-hander from LSU, and I know nobody wants pitchers.
Nope.
But you know, if you don't want pitchers, then you didn't want Justin Verlander in 2002 second overall. He's sort of fourth. So people have to keep cognizant of that. And then of course there's Dylan Cruz, the LSU outfielder, who's really got the best hit tool. But the difference between the three, particularly Langford and with Cruz, they're the outfielders. They're the bats the Tiger fans want. They're the bats that Scott Harris, I know, wants. But Paul Skeens could end up being, frankly, the Hall of Famer out of the three. And I mean, you don't say that lightly. But you get a Paul Skeens about once every 15 years. I'm not sure Skeens is going to make it past Washington at number 2. That has been, of course, the big question here for all analysts on the draft nationally, is how's that going to shake out among the three? The thinking forever was, and has been up until maybe the past week, because Skeens is really taken off, and also the fact that Langford is going to sign below slot if they take him at number 1, meaning the Pirates could sign him for less than they're offered or less than they're mandated to spend at number 1, and then use that extra money to entice, let's say, a high school kid from going to college, and then get him in the subsequent pick. That's the kind of game that's played over these next 3 weeks, 2 weeks, I should say. And yet the Tigers are going to be sitting there beautifully with any of those three. Or if they don't want to go the pitching route. And I know fans are saying, no, the guy will just get hurt. Look, anytime you take absolute stances in a draft, you're asking for trouble. You better be open to an exception, and Skeens is an exception. If you don't, though, want to go that route, and I think you can cut your throat by not going that route, then they can take either of two prep kids who are exceedingly good hitters and athletes, Walker Jenkins out of North Carolina or Max Clark out of Indiana. Now, these guys, there's no question these are the top 5 picks in the draft. But you're taking a gamble and a risk on a high school kid, too. Maybe he gets down there and shows you suddenly he can't handle high heat. Well, now you got to live with that, and the probability he's never going to make it. So, I mean, this thing has no guarantees. And if you steer away from a talent as exceptional and as generational as Paul Skeens, you could be asking for big trouble. So I think I would trust the Tiger scouts on this. They have sharp guys definitely at the top in Metzler and Connor. They're not going to screw this thing up. And so who they take at 3, I think, is something that the fan base can trust, and I think they're going to get a really, really exceptional player. The draft lottery finally for a Detroit team worked in Detroit's advantage. The Tigers should have been picking 6th or picking 3rd. They need to take that bonus and run with it and then have a terrific draft.
No doubt, man. Don't forget the Red Sox jumped them a couple of years ago for out of the blue for like a World Series win to picking 2nd.
Yeah, they did, and everybody was screaming, of course, all along here about how the Tigers didn't take Marcelo Mayer, and they took Jack Jobe. But Ryan, if you look at Detroit News, you'll see a nice piece on Jackson Jobe.
I love it.
Spoke with and had a very fine conversation with him.
I think, look, and I am a subscriber to the Detroit News.
Me too.
I don't think I'm not. The problem for me with all of these guys in college or high school,
don't know them.
We don't see them. I couldn't even pick Colt Keith out of a lineup. If I couldn't pick Parker Meadows out of a lineup. It's not like NFL or NBA where they come right to the league. I mean, you hear these names, you hear them once, their name gets called, and then you see them 6 years later. It's hard to quantify how good they can be. So it's not something that I'm terribly intrigued with, because I know the payoff isn't there for years down the road.
That's absolutely the case, Ryan. It's a hard thing to keep people fixated on the minors, let alone the college draft, and yet some of us find it to be tremendously intriguing. and that's why I enjoy covering both ends of it. But it's really a situation where they have to draft beyond the first round. That is also why Scott Harris made his move on the scouting front. It's not just first rounders. You can score on those pretty well, and I think they, on balance, again, they've done okay with the first rounders. If you look at their first round picks versus everybody else's, the Tigers have done okay. And Riley Green's just the latest example. Torkelson will be fine. Mize will be fine when he gets healthy. All that stuff. That works out. And Young will probably be okay. But you have to draft in deeper rounds, and they just haven't done it, which is why we're talking about the rare bird that might make it up. And they should have had a system here stopped. And not just from the United States, but they have really had a weary record in Latin America, and I've written all about that over the last year, too. And that's really where they've also failed abysmally. And that explains why you've had a team that hasn't been in the playoffs since 2014.
Yep. It's sad when you see the Reds and you see the Orioles and you see the Pirates on a little bit. I mean, the Orioles and the Tigers, when 2014, they were in the playoffs against each other. The Orioles swept them.
Yeah.
Since then, look what the Orioles have put together, and look what the Tigers have put together, and it makes you sick to your stomach when you don't have a team to even root for here. It's very sad. When's the payoff here from Detroit?
And we all know how the Orioles did it. Mike Elias, their new GM, came in and did it with, ta-da, the draft.
Yep.
He knew exactly that you focus on bats and position people, and you try to get some pitching later on. And that formula has worked. It doesn't, again, mean that you take an absolute stance, because a guy like Skeens is not going to get past many teams in any year. I don't care what your philosophy is about pitching versus hitting. So we'll see how this shakes out. But your point about Baltimore is exactly mine. That until you do it with your own draft, with your own scouting, with your own ability to build a lineup, then you're spinning wheels, and that's what the Tigers have done, as we agree, for too many decades.
Thanks, Mr. H.
The great Lynn Hennig, thank you so much. And I will leave you with knowing that I am a subscriber to the Detroit News, and I will start reading these drafting. I think I just get so frustrated by the amount of years it takes. That's why I want Colt Keith to bypass AAA and come straight to the major leagues. But Mr. H, we love you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
You bet. Man, it's always a pleasure as well.
Thanks, Mr. H.
You're the man. You, sir. I am way over for a break, so we're going to get there right now. Randy Wise.
Oh, Randy Watson, you mean? No, Randy Wise, a celebrity golf classic. Let's read it for you. How would you like to have little famous athletes like Jim Harbaugh, Darren McCarty, and Braylon Edwards play golf with you guys? Us, the average Joes. It can happen. That's right. Thanks to Randy Wise Automotive and Woodward Sports, you got to be able to do just that. It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. You see it every day when we open our show. You know how to do it. You got to listen in at Woodward Sports and get your butt down to a Randy Wise Automotive dealer today to play golf like a celebrity.
All of Detroit sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage. How would you like to win not one, but two vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Hey gang, want to tell you about Outdoor Equipment Company. Your childhood may be over, but playtime is not. Outdoor Equipment Company is your source for outdoor power equipment sales, service, parts, carrying top brands such as Bad Boy, LS Tractors, Steel, and more. Servicing the Great Lakes region with locations in Metro Detroit and Greater Lansing. For more information, visit this website right here above my head, OutdoorEquipCo.com. OutdoorEquipCo.com, your power equipment playground.
Yes, sir.
WoodwardSports.com. I want to thank Lynn Henning for being so generous with his time. And, look, the draft in baseball is much like, to me, the draft in hockey.
I get it.
I have no. The NHL draft is on Wednesday night. I could not tell you one player the Red Wings are going to get at 9. Not one. Nor do I care until you get with the big club.
What if you got Connor Bedard waiting for you? You got the number 1 pick, and he's going to be the next it guy.
Yeah, but those guys come up. Those guys, when you get a Mike Trout type guy, those guys get up to the big leagues really fast. When you get a Connor Bedard, those guys get up to the NHL club really fast.
It would have been nice for the Red Wings to be able to pick first.
No doubt. When you get a Sidney Crosby type player, those guys get up really fast. I
hear you on baseball. I mean, it is time consuming. I ask people, you don't play fantasy baseball? They're like, no, it's too long. You got to do things every day. Baseball is literally a waiting game. It truly is. Unless you're completely bought in from when they get drafted all the way up till they get to the majors. I mean, what the Reds are doing, I can't wait to watch the Reds. Ellie Dela Cruz. I don't know if you saw him over the weekend.
Yeah.
He hit a cycle over the weekend.
Yeah.
A freaking cycle. The kid has been in the league for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. He's already hit for a cycle.
And again,
there's so many great players like that. And the Tigers don't get him. Yeah, they signed Riley Green. He's a great draft pick. But, 10 picks later, Corbin Carroll comes out. He's Rookie of the Year. He might be a freaking MVP if the Diamondbacks win that division in the way they're playing right now. They are in first place thanks to him.
But again,
second place.
Ellie Dela Cruz was signed in 2018 as an international free agent, so he wasn't even part of the draft.
We don't get. That's why the international scout got fired.
He was 21. He's 21 years old now, and he's up. We talk about Colt Keith being 21 years old.
Yeah.
I mean,
he ain't Ellie Dela Cruz.
No, I know he's not Ellie Dela Cruz, but it just goes to show you, like, you can be 24. Am I gonna have to wait another 3 years?
I know. We talk about the Pistons. You got Jalen Duren's 20 years old.
19, 20
years old. How long do we got to wait?
Here, wait 7 years?
7 freaking years? We don't have that.
But at least I see him.
Yes.
At least I see Jalen Duren.
Correct.
And can see his development and understand that there are bursts there and there are things that are a part of his game that with time and with seasoning, with experience, he can get much better on. But this Dela Cruz cat, 21 years old, he's been up for a couple of weeks. Yeah, you see it. But again,
do you know he beat a grounder to first base?
No, I did not see that.
He beat out the first baseman to first on a grounder to first base.
Yeah, guy's been up for 2 weeks. He's batting .361, 3 homers, 10 RBI, and 7 stolen bases.
And the cycle.
And a hit for the cycle.
First cycle since 1989 for the Reds, Eric Davis.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm a mock draft guy. I like mock drafts. I just see who the Tigers were going to get today. That's the first time I picked up any drafting because, again, Jackson Jobe. I mean, what year was Jackson Jobe drafted? Was he in 2018 or in 2020, 2022 or 2017? I don't remember. Do you have any idea when Jackson Jobe was?
Last year.
He was last year?
Yes, or 2 years ago.
See, you don't freaking know. You don't friggin' know
Well,
either.
we each got to read Lynn Henning because Lynn Henning talked to him.
I understand, but
Okay.
when is Jackson Jobe going to be on the Tigers?
Let's read Lynn Henning's article today in the Detroit News.
Am I going to wait till 2027 for Jackson Jobe to
I don't
be
think
on
so.
there?
Pitchers come up quicker.
Frick. Jeez.
I just want to get Matt Manning back, Derek Skubal, and hopefully Casey Mize can pick it up one of these years.
All right, we're going to go around the NFL. We'll do it next. But first, a message from Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk into any Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience, and it is an award-winning experience. There are several locations around the Metro Detroit area, several more around the country. There is one near you, and if you come here in Michigan, if you live in Michigan, if you get your haircut in Michigan, you could walk in and automatically be entered to win. Enter for your chance to win not one but two vehicles of your choice from Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. We were out there. It was a beautiful place over the week. And that's right, two cars. One for you, your wife, your girlfriend, your best bud, whoever you want to give it to. Lady Jane's. It's open 7 days a week. You can walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Big Boy Strawberry Fest has officially arrived, and we're here to show you the very best flavors of the season. Satisfy your sweet tooth with our deep-fried vanilla Oreos, strawberry hot fudge cake, and a slice of our classic strawberry pie. But that's not all. Cool off on a refreshing summer splash salad, or savor the flavors of our chicken Caesar wrap and strawberry bacon chicken wrap. And for breakfast lovers, don't miss out on our strawberry hotcakes or our mouth-watering red velvet waffle. Strawberry Fest is something for everyone. Celebrate the sweet season with us at Big Boy.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
Hey, gang, I want to tell you about Les Stanford. They've expanded into Ferndale, a trusted name for over 55 years. Les Stanford Buick GMC, same great service that customers have come to know. You can go check them out on Woodward, just south of 9 Mile. Of course, looking for a Chevy or a Cadillac, Les Stanford in Dearborn on Michigan Avenue, where they've been for over 55 years. You can find the brand you want under one umbrella. LesStanford.com, LesStanford.com.
Find new roads.
Find them. Some of the great chats. What do you call it? Chats?
Yeah.
Some of the great things in the chat.
The chatters.
The chatters. Imagine doing a show on a hockey or a baseball mock draft.
I saw that.
That's from Harold Williams.
Christ.
This is so great. Ryan, he's a high school kid. You're not paying attention if you don't see the Iser plan stocked up on draft choices and hit on several. I mean, that's fine. I just, again,
we don't want to wait anymore.
Wake me up when these guys get here.
We're done.
I mean, Casey Mize, Dog Pound. I think Casey Mize is a bust. It's hard not to think that. He's the number one overall player in the draft.
Well, he had Tommy John surgery. You can rebound from that, but he's got back injury. That's tougher. So we keep our fingers crossed for the kid and hope that he can come back and be as strong as he was.
That's the hope. That's the hope.
Fireworks tonight. Who's going to fireworks?
Are you going to the fireworks tonight?
Well, I definitely don't want to go.
Are you going
to
the fireworks tonight?
I do not want to go. I did not want to go to the St. Clair Shores fireworks the other day, and I lucked out. They got rained out on Friday, and then Saturday we had graduation party, so I escaped that. Tonight, my wife just found out a good spot to go see them. And she's
Where is it?
I can't give it. I don't want to give it away to everybody. I can't give it away.
Can't give it away.
But there's a way to watch the fireworks without really having to go way downtown. Still got to go downtown a little bit, but not all the way downtown where they're gonna kill you for parking and all that kind of jazz, and then get you for gridlock on the way home. But back in the day, I would have to go as a dad when the kids were younger. Kids are older now, but my wife, for some reason, and my mother-in-law, for some reason, still love to watch fireworks, and I just don't give a damn.
I was never a big fireworks guy.
I don't
and I
care.
don't know what it is.
I'd rather stay home with Jeter and comfort Jeter because Jeter is going to go out of his mind. He's going to go out of his mind.
Yeah, it's not a good night for the dogs.
It's terrible.
It's not a good night for the dogs.
It's a bad week.
JB, are you a fireworks guy?
Not anymore. I was when I was younger. Definitely when I was a kid. But now it's just, as you said, it's just like, all right, sparkly lights in the sky. Okay.
I mean, it's fine. I don't want to rain on anybody's parade.
Yeah.
If you're on a date, you got a girl, it's your second, third date.
Oh,
there's
man.
nothing like going to that.
Nothing better than a firework. For a date night, there's nothing better.
But after that, I'm sorry. It's over.
Parker, are you a fireworks guy?
I have, to this day, I've never been a fireworks guy. I'm kind of in the same boat, but I kind of realized it once I turned 5 years old that I just watched a bunch of exploding powder in the sky, and I was like, the effect wore off pretty quickly for me.
I feel like once you've seen the fireworks once, you've seen them. Like, I used to go and I used to work the fireworks every night. I've done the Belle Isle thing. I've done the rooftop downtown thing. I've done the private party thing. I've done the public party thing. I've interviewed Kwame Kilpatrick on fireworks night.
That got
Funny
you going.
story about Kwame Kilpatrick. So when he was the mayor of Detroit, and he was the embattled mayor of Detroit, for what I don't remember, I was 100% in the sports department at the time.
Right.
At Fox 2. I was not in news yet at all. But somebody was out, or we were a sick call or vacation or whatever the case would be. So I went and covered the fireworks. They were going to send me to, I think it was a rooftop
Were
party.
you nervous?
To cover the fireworks? Yeah, I was like, how do you cover the fireworks? Like, well, you just ask people,
Exactly. You stick them like,
right?
how do you like it?
What do you think of the
is
fireworks?
great.
So I was like, fine.
Is this your first time here?
Exactly. How long have you been here?
Oh.
What are you making?
How about
Can
that?
I have some? I mean, it's really easy stuff. It's not,
It is.
you're not, laying bricks. It's very easy stuff. So my name is out there. And Kwame is, being asked all this by every investigative reporter.
Where's
out
the
there.
money?
He is
Where's the
right
money buried?
in the thick? Kwame Kilpatrick is right in the thick of the investigation. So, but it's Detroit fireworks night. He wants to be on television before the people. So he had somebody in his office call up Fox 2 and say, which reporters are going to be out tonight? And my name is on the list. And he's like, I'll do an interview with him. Because I'm a sports guy. He knows I'm not going to ask him anything about scandal, anything about Strawberry, anything about stealing money, anything about anything. And let me tell you this. I asked him one question about the stuff because you can't,
Correct.
I don't remember what.
Mayor,
how exactly
I can't let you go without asking
right.
this.
Yeah, it was a total softball layup question and whatever. But let me tell you, I have never seen an individual, however you feel about Kwame Kilpatrick, I have never seen somebody, in person anyway, that people cried over.
Yeah.
They just wanted to reach out and touch the guy.
He could have been president if you asked me.
Absolutely. They just wanted to reach out and touch him.
Mm-hmm.
That night. I've never seen the Beatles. I heard about when the Beatles came over in the 60s.
Yeah.
That to me was the closest thing I'll ever see to the Beatles. Is Kwame Kilpatrick so far.
But he's electric.
I mean, just
He
it is unbelievable, man.
Man.
Unbelievable.
Too bad he was short-sighted.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my fireworks story.
So you're not going?
I'm not going, but he did he was like, I like that jacket, man.
Nice.
He was talking, he knows how to butter you up.
So
well, you know what? Maybe Trump is like that too. Trump is like that too. And it's something about these, Obama is like that.
Correct.
But I never saw Obama in person, there's something about
Bill Clinton.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, he was.
Really?
He was electric.
But people would cry over seeing Bill Clinton like they would for I'll never forget this lady was crying to just reach out and touch him, And it's the same for Trump. It's the same for Obama. But my goodness, there's something about these, whether you like them or you hate them.
Right.
Something about these electric personalities, man. Unbelievable.
I'm probably going to get, they're going to soft touch me tonight and give me the old, come on, Dad, take a ride with us at least. I'm probably going to be sucked down into the vortex tonight.
Oh, you're going all the way down. You're going all the way down. You might as well take some edibles while you're there.
Might as well.
Guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll go a little bit around the NFL. We can go a lot of bit around the NFL.
I got a lot of stuff
You got a
here
lot
for
of
you.
stuff today. But first, let me tell you about Guardian Alarm. They're your local security experts that have been for over 90 years. When you see this black and yellow sign out in front of your house, it tells the bad guys one thing.
Stay out.
Whether you are at home or on the road, they're 24/7 professional monitoring, customized solutions from real experts, and technology backed by people means you are backed by the best. Call this number right here, 1-800-STAY-OUT. That number again, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Call them today. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
The Sports Marketing Agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in Downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Hey gang, woodwardsports.com. I think, Maz, you and I in the break decided we're going to save our NFL segment for tomorrow when we dress it up a little bit.
And we got Braylon involved.
And we got Braylon involved.
If he's not playing golf.
I wanted to do this too because the morning show guys are doing great. Jeff Iafrate, Sam Flannel, guys are doing great. Today they had Tom Izzo on. And for our audience here, we thought we'd play that interview for you, come back. It's about 10 minutes. They did a really nice job at this interview. Tom Izzo is playing in the Rocket Mortgage Classic Pro-Am, and he joined the fellas, and we wanted to share that with you. I think it's a really good interview. We'll come back after the interview and give our thoughts on this. But here you go, Morning Woodward.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. I'm Jeff Iafrate. Alongside me, Sam Flannel, as always. We got JB, we got Lucas Klotz, and joining us, we have a very, very special guest. It is my honor to welcome in the Hall of Famer, the all-time winningest head coach in Michigan State basketball history and Big Ten Conference history, Tom Izzo. Welcome to the show, Tom. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem. We understand you're participating in the Pro-Am on Wednesday and the tournament that starts on Thursday as well. Other participants include Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, Dylan Larkin, Chris Webber, and WWE superstar The Miz. And shout out to Rocket Mortgage Classic for putting it on. But can you just talk to us a little bit about the event itself and what you're partaking in exactly?
Well, I'm also playing the 313 tomorrow, which is kind of a fun event that benefits a lot of people, a lot of families in Detroit. And I just think the bottom line is anytime we have good events in Detroit, I've said it since I got here, I'll say it till the day I leave here, and then I'll say it some more when I'm done. When the biggest city in your state is doing well, the rest of the state's doing well. And we all know that there was a time Detroit was booming, and then there was a time when we've really gone through tough times, and getting it back and getting people there and selling the great things we have and then raising money for certain things. Those are all positive as we try to kind of reinvent our city, which means reinventing our state.
Absolutely. Coach Izzo, to reflect on last season's loss in the NCAA tournament in a great game to Kansas State, what are some things the team is focusing on this offseason to take that next step, both individually and as a team?
Well, one is to try to score one more point. One more point would have got us to the Elite Eight, which I think we could have got to a Final Four. But on a serious note, now it's blending a little more depth. We had no depth last year. A little more depth, blending some talented freshmen with some talented juniors and seniors. Making sure certain guys take a step. I think Tyson Walker had. Jaden Akins, I think, will be very, very important, taking a big step. And then we've got to get Malik Hall healthy. He had surgery in the spring, and it looks like he's really coming around and starting to shoot the ball now. And within the next couple of weeks, he'll start working out again. And that was he was out almost all last year, in and out, in and out, in and out. And Jaden missing the first 12 weeks didn't help either. So he wasn't full go to the middle of January. So I think those two things, staying injury-free, which is always, hard to do, but maybe working a little harder. There's not only in the weight room, but in flexibility and doing some hot yoga and all the things that are fun.
And Coach, as well, last week, the Detroit Pistons, Troy Weaver, they picked 5th overall. They took Asar Thompson, a pick actually after his brother Amin. Are you familiar with the Twins? And if so, what are your thoughts on the Pistons taking Asar 5th overall?
Well, I'm familiar with them. As they were moving on through high school, everybody was familiar with them. Having not seen them a lot, they seem like great kids, both of them, and I'm happy the Pistons, I think the Pistons are putting together some good young talent, and strengthening up their guards, and those guards are going to be very important because you got to win with them, and so now I think they have a very good base. In the last 2 years, they've really, and I like the Sasser kid too from Houston. So I think they've had a good draft, and I think they're going to be an exciting team, and I'm looking forward to them because there's another group that when the Lions and the Pistons are doing well, I think we're all doing better.
And when you see the top 5 picks, too, with Scoot Henderson from the G League and obviously Asar and Amin from Overtime Elite, what are your thoughts now on just the variety of where players are coming from? And even last year, top 5, a lot of those guys were from the NCAA. But now with so much variety, what does it mean for college basketball, you think?
Well, I think college basketball is getting a little bit of a bad look on that and their standpoint. Guys, every year there's 5 to 8 guys that if they went to Northern Michigan or if they went to, a convent, they're going to be top picks. I mean, they're coming out. If the rule was they could come right out of high school, there's 5 to 7 picks that would have. So when people say they're getting better at Overtime Elite or better at this and that, I don't believe that at all. I really don't. I think, there's different places to go, but if you get to the point and you had a son or daughter and, you're still missing being in college. I don't care if it's 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. Starting your education and having a chance to come back, just being in a college campus. I feel bad for the kids. That's me. I mean, everybody say, they make a little money, they do a little bit. In the big picture, those are nothing. College helps prepare you. So I'm not sticking up for college. I could care less if they go there. But I don't listen to the theory that because they went there, they got better. Nothing gets better than the competition in college on a daily basis and what we can do. If you ask me, that's my opinion, only my opinion, but I think it's an educated opinion.
Absolutely, and very few people know more about college basketball than you, Coach Izzo, and I have to ask this because the chat was probably expecting this from me. I am as big of a Michigan basketball fan as you will find at this network, and if I'm being honest, some of my most exciting moments as a fan have come at your team's expense, but obviously I respect the hell out of the program you've built. You're the best Big Ten basketball coach of my lifetime. And you had some battles with Michigan, your team, especially under the later years under John Beilein. Tell me about some of those and if you got a little extra juice coaching against Michigan.
Well, rivalries are rivalries, and John and I used to laugh about that. I think what the big key is do you respect your opponent. I respected Juwan Howard. I recruited Juwan. But, of course, I did almost have a special relationship with John. We went through wars. He built Michigan like I built it here. We went, I don't know, I want to say 10 years against each other, and maybe longer, in fact. And, we were getting to the point where they were getting the Final Fours, we were getting the Final Fours. Rivalries aren't rivalries until both teams are really good, and then they're rivalries. But it'll always be a rivalry, and yet Hatfields and McCoys, as I call it, is a fight. But if there's respect, then it's a good rivalry. And I think that there is respect, and that's all that matters to me right now. Is you get a lot of rivalries. In other words, Wisconsin became a big rivalry because us and them were playing for championship. Then Illinois, and John got there and it was Michigan. Thank God we're always in that rivalry statement. But the Michigan State rivalry, when they're in the same state, it should be a big rivalry. It should be something like you guys sit there and you're a Michigan guy and somebody else there's a Michigan State guy. And, you get to rip on each other for a week at a game. And then sometimes, like in football, you get to rip on each other for a whole year, and that's the fun of rivalries. They're more fun for you guys than they are us.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Tom Izzo, Michigan State head coach, the Hall of Famer. Thanks for taking the time, Coach. I got one more for you. Again, for you who have accomplished everything, how do you keep that competitive fire onto you to keep that motivation to keep going?
Well, I haven't accomplished everything. You got a lot of things to accomplish yet. I think that's what keeps me going. But every time you think, because you won a national championship, then you look at Mike Krzyzewski's got 5 and John Wooden's got 10, and you realize you haven't accomplished nothing like that. So, that's what keeps me motivated. There's always somebody out there that has done more. And but my objective here is, yes, to win more championships. But my real objective here at Michigan State is to leave the place better than I found it, to build it strong enough where the basement is really strong, and then the first floor is strong. And now as we move up the building, the more layers we can put on, then the less destructible it'll be. Because college sports is in a little trouble right now, I think, where we're at. And it's going to be interesting to see how the next couple of years go, and we're going to have to be very solid to stay with what you guys love, what I love, and what I think our fans love. And yet it's we got some people making decisions that are in a vacuum, if you ask me. And so that's my candid opinion. How's that?
No, it's perfect. Thank you. Again, thank you for taking.
That was great, man. Tom Izzo. And I think the great thing that came out there is this overtime elite and G League and all these players that are going there. These players are not getting better going
It's nothing special about it. Yeah, they're playing more against veteran NBA guys trying to hang on, maybe some other type of players as well. But I don't think there's anything that gets you ready for the NBA better than playing college basketball.
Facts.
I mean, that's just the way it is. And he doesn't think college basketball is as bad, as in bad a shape as a lot of us think it's in. Because we have talked about it, and it's not the same as it used to be. It's unfortunate. You don't really know the players as much. Look at the 2 Michigan kids that got drafted in the first round. One of them, Jet Howard. What was the other one?
Kobe Buffkin.
Yeah, Kobe. I don't even remember him playing a lot, to be perfectly honest with you. It's sad that you don't get the guys that are staying at least 3 years nowadays. It's not that. If they could skip college and go right to the NBA, of course they would do that as well, if that was allowed. But I guess it is what it is, right? You got to change with the times.
There you go, baby. All right. Maz, good stuff out of you. Parker, great job. JB, we love you. Braylon will be back tomorrow. Hit the like button for us. Let's see if we can get to over 100 likes in the next 30 seconds. We'll do that. Hit that like button for us.
Tigers Rangers tonight.
Absolutely. First of a 4-game set against the
AL West leading Rangers. They are good.
Arlington. Yeah, they're good. You just hope you can get 1 in this series.
No,
right?
you need 2.
You need 2 in this series, exactly as I said. Guys, we'll see you tomorrow. WoodwardSports.com.
See you guys.